This is a slightly edited version of an older video. Feel free to bail if you experience deja vu.
Hello and welcome back to my shop. My name is George and I'm coming to you from the beautiful municipality of Chelsea, Quebec. Now in September I promised you no video in October and I kept my word. I came through big time for you. So this is November's installment, November 2016. And this month I don't have a special theme, special topic, special project, nothing like that. So we'll go back to the magazine format. So with the magazine format, we'll do a little bit of everything this month. I'll open with a few words on what I've been up to these last couple of months. I'll then talk about the shop tool of the month. So this is a tool that I don't think everybody has, but which has made a very strong positive impact in my shop life. So I'll sing its praises. I'll follow through with some cheap tips of the month. In this case it'll be about cheap miscellaneous parts storage. And then I'll close with a video recommendation of the month. So there's a YouTube channel that I think you might be interested in taking a look at, and I'll mention it towards the end. So let's get started. So what have I been up to in the last couple of months? Well, if you're only counting the last couple of months, this version 4 of my tracked camera vehicle would be it. If you want to talk about all of its previous versions as well, I've been sort of building this thing one way or another over about a year, a little bit under a year. And what is it? Well, it's a tracked vehicle that carries a camera and can reposition the camera depending on what we want to look at. You see, I'm a member of the Ottawa Woodworkers Association. If you're in the Ottawa area, you might consider taking a look at what we're up to. So we have monthly meetings, and there's always a show and tell portion to the meeting. Sometimes the members bring small objects like jewelry boxes that are not easy to see from the back of the room. And so we can use this camera now to move in on the object and get a closer view while the presenter is talking about it. Earlier versions had all kinds of wires joining it and joining it to the control box, and so the thing would topple over. And so over its different iterations, I've made it a little bit stronger, put beefier motors, stepped the motors up to make them steppers instead of regular DC motors. And I've generally had, the blackest and the whitest of moments in the construction of this thing, taking the electronics and the programming and the construction all into account. But I think this version is going to fly. It should be ready in about a week or so. I just need to attach the motor to control the up-down position of the camera. But this joystick here that's mounted on a box, with it I can control the thing, move it forward, backward, change its angle, and of course the last control to put in is the tilt of the camera. The camera is going to be projecting back the image to a projector, and then that'll be tossed up onto a big screen so folks can get a good look at the project. So it is a bit of a woodworking, there's certainly a woodworking component to this in two ways of looking at it. One, it's for the woodworking club, and the other one is that there's some bits that have been made of spalted maple that I harvested here. So the spalting, thanks to a fungus, the wood was also infested with some sort of a winged ant, and so it was great fun, not really, to watch the little things hatching as you're trying to work the wood or coating it with shellac, and they're all trying to escape their little burrows as quickly as possible. But I'm pretty sure they're all out now, and the thing will be put to work really soon. Once you've outfitted your shop to the point of having a dust collector, you'll start thinking about having the dust collector come on automatically. Now dust collectors these days come with remotes, and they're fine, but I just know with my work habits and my ability to lose things, I'd be spending the first 5 minutes searching for the remote until I would finally give up and walk over to the dust collector and turn it on manually. So this little contraption that I'm filming, it's in the upper right hand area, the yellow thing. This little contraption automatically turns on the dust collector when it senses power coming through the lines. The unit is an IVAC, so little I, big V, an IVAC vacuum switch. And it's this yellow box over here that I'll point to with a stick. And ordinarily, it has 3 sockets. So one of them is still there. This is the socket that you plug the vacuum, the dust collector into. So this is a switched outlet. Now the other 2 outlets are ordinarily here. And let's say you've got a table saw plugged into this outlet. Well, when you turn your table saw on, the device senses the power being drawn through this outlet, and it automatically turns on the dust collector. So the little box itself is it's a wonderful little unit, and it greatly benefited my shop life when it came into it. Now, it wasn't too long, I decided to modify it a little bit, and I'm not recommending this unless you have the expertise and blessing of an electrician behind you. But what I did was I wired it into my breaker panel. So I've got a couple of lines coming from the breakers, one feeding the dust collector line and the other one feeding the power tool line. They pass through and they run to outlets that I've put on 2 walls. So one of them runs to the left inside this piping. Here's one outlet, and there's another one farther to the left out of scene. And the other wall also gets fed, so there's a tube here, or a pipe rather, behind. It runs down out of scene, but it runs along this wall to 4 more outlets. So I have my jointer, my bandsaw, and my table saw all plugged into that circuitry. So now when I turn on the jointer, or I turn on the bandsaw, or I turn on the table saw, the dust collector automatically comes on. So it's one less thing to think about, one less tool that you have to search to find. Now I also have a 220 line, but it's not running through this box. It's separate to that box. And my planer, it runs on 220. So I can turn the planer on and off, and I won't get any reaction from this circuit. But if I do want the circuit to turn on the dust collector automatically, I plug a light into the 110 circuitry that it's interrupting. So the light is close to the planer. I'll turn the light on in order to use the planer, and the dust collector comes on automatically. So that's my tool of the month. It's one of those sleeper tools. You don't really think it'll change your shop life, but this one really has improved my shop life quite a bit. The manufacturer again is IVAC, so little I, big V, and I got mine from Lee Valley Tools. So one thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about the tool of the month is that I'm in a one-person shop. I think it might be obvious to folks. And as a consequence, there's no chance of 2 power tools being run at the same time. So if I'm working the table saw, I'm not working the bandsaw, and there's no chance of overloading the lines, asking for too much power. If you give your dog a sardine a day, you will earn that dog's undying loyalty. If you don't feed them a sardine a day, you will earn your dog's undying loyalty. But you'll miss out on the chance to save these things. And these are, as you can see, sardine cans. So I use these sardine cans as parts storage. Now, Serge wrote a methods of work article in Fine Woodworking not that long ago, and he talked about using sardine cans as drawer separators. So he had them sitting at the bottom of a drawer with different parts in them. And what I'd like to add to his story is that these things stack brilliantly. So they can end up taking a little bit less space than the full drawer would. And then if you have a hot melt gun, a glue gun as we like to call them, and glue one of the parts in the front, you'll have a way of quickly finding those miscellaneous small parts that would otherwise be lost if you were to toss them into a hell box. So that's my cheap tip of the month. Give your dog a sardine every day and don't toss out the can. Couple of concerns that I can address right away is what keeps the stacks from toppling. Well, these things stack really well, and it's not that hard to separate the stack and go to the section you want. They tend to stay together quite well. The other concern that might come up is, aren't you going to cut your fingers on these sharp little edges? And I can tell you that the edges are really not that sharp. You'd have to really work at it to try to slice a finger. Would I let a toddler play with these? No. But I think anything older than a teenager can handle these things safely. We're getting ready to close, but not before I give you my video tip of the month. This man doesn't have very many YouTube videos. He's got more than I do though. He has 10, and I've watched only one of them. I will be looking at all his other videos as well. He's got a small shop. He tends to patch things together as best he can. But this one video of his that I saw, he had a turntable that was just brilliant. He's got a really small shop. So he's taken 5 of his smaller power tools. So these would be tools about the size of a grinder or a scroll saw, that size of things. He's put 5 of them into a corner of his shop on a turntable. And that is just a brilliant use of space. When he wants to use one tool or another, he just rotates the table to have that tool offer its face to him. And he works it. Wants another tool, rotates the turntable. Just a brilliant use of space. So I'm thinking this is the guy to watch now on YouTube. You can find him just by putting his name into the search field. So good luck to him, and listen, I'm closing. So good luck to you too. I'll come up with something for December. I don't know what yet. Until then, let me wish you the best of the season. Bye from me, and don't forget, find your passion and share it.